Wasn't that amazing? Give it up for Steve. Come on. Okay. I'd like to introduce PA State Representative Daryl Metcalfe. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Steve and Jackie and their mom. So you all did a good job. Great job on organizing this today. I know there's these days of these rallies for the Day of Resistance going on across the state and around the country. I think I saw one that was happening in New York, and I know I got contacted on one up in Scranton, and one was occurring in Erie, I believe. So it's great that everybody came out today. Thank you for standing up. Thank you for being here in this not so nice weather. Stand up for your rights. I'm State Representative Daryl Metcalfe. I represent the 12th District down in Butler County, so it's about a 5-hour drive from here, but it's good to join with you. We hit the road early this morning. My daughter's with me and her boyfriend. My wife's here, so it's nice to be with you all here in Montgomery County. What you are doing is important, and what the other patriots around the country have been doing at the rallies over the last several years, it's very important. But it's more important that you take this energy and take it into the capitals, into the courthouses, and let your elected officials know that you are not going to stand by and watch your freedom stolen from you. I grew up in upstate New York and grew up in a kind of hunting, farming community, so I grew up around firearms from the time I can remember, and my daughter has also. Not everybody in America has been blessed to have that opportunity to be raised in that type of an environment where they actually had an appreciation for the firearms that we have. That I think as we were traveling down here, there was a quote from George Washington about the teeth of liberty. It's liberty's teeth. And I think our firearms, which every American needs to understand, are the teeth of our liberty. The firearms that we have, the Second Amendment right that has been affirmed in our Constitution, Article 1, Section 21 in the Pennsylvania Constitution, that is even stronger language than the Second Amendment, that says that your right to bear arms in defense of yourselves and the state shall not be questioned.
How about the Stick Act?
We need to make sure that our right is not questioned. We have a lot of people that are in office that are questioning our rights, from Obama and Biden down to some of your local mayors and your local council people. We need to make sure that they understand that we are not going to stand idly by and watch them violate our Constitution, watch them violate our freedom, and watch them steal away the future of our children. We need to protect America and stand up for our Constitution. After growing up in upstate New York, I went into the United States Army, and I did 4 years of active duty in the U.S. Army. So thank you to all the veterans that are here today. We appreciate your service. And as a 17-year-old coming out of high school and going into the U.S. Army, I raised my hand and I swore to uphold and defend the Constitution of our great nation. And I've taken that oath many times since as a state legislator.
Amen.
But I think every American needs to embrace the sentiments of that oath that all of us that are veterans have taken. Every patriotic American needs to embrace the defense of the Constitution, that you're going to stand up for the Constitution, that you are going to protect it against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Because right now we have a problem with domestic enemies of the Constitution.
Yes, we do.
And some of it comes through ignorance, and some of it comes to it with purpose. Those that hope to tear America down and destroy America for what it stood for so many generations. This country, this land of liberty that is known around the world for people enjoying their God-given rights. Because our rights aren't government-given.
That's right.
Our rights are God-given.
That's right.
Some, like Obama, would have you think that the government's giving you your rights.
No.
Because they think if they give them to you, then they can take them away, right?
Yeah.
We need to make sure that they know that we understand the truth, and that's that our rights are from God, not from government.
Yeah.
And our government will be accountable to us.
Yes.
Now here in Pennsylvania, we've had some really great successes with defending Article 1, Section 21 of the Pennsylvania Constitution, the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, our right to bear arms. We've had some great victories. We passed Castle Doctrine last session. Governor Corbett signed it into law. And Castle the doctrine has been used in defenses across the state already by citizens who have been defending themselves from criminals. And we have the right to bear arms. And we have it so that we can pursue our own happiness, so that we can defend ourselves against the criminal element. Because ultimately, the best defense against any criminal is an armed, law-abiding citizen. Criminals know that. Obama knows that. But Obama also knows, and Biden, they know that their greatest fear to the tyranny that they would hope to put upon America is an armed citizenry.
That's right.
Because a lot of Americans understand that we weren't affirmed the Second Amendment in the U.S. Constitution, and we didn't spell it out in the Pennsylvania Constitution, Article 1, Section 21. We didn't spell the right to bear arms out to hunt ducks.
That's right.
That right is spelled out so that you can protect yourselves, that the American people can protect themselves from a tyrannical government.
Yeah.
You know, when our country was founded, the Constitution was written, and it was written with an intent of being a form of putting chains on our government, a restraint on our government, a limitation to our government. Well, our current federal government and past federal governments have worked to torch those chains off of the Constitution. And we need to put the shackles back on government with the chains of the Constitution. We have several pieces of legislation introduced in Harrisburg that are pro-Second Amendment pieces of legislation, dealing with the transportation of firearms, dealing with ranges, gun ranges, dealing with the constitutional carry by Rick Saccone out west. He's got a constitutional carry bill that he's introduced. But the bill that I've heard the most feedback from in the 15 years that I've now been in office is House Bill 357. Who here knows about 357? House Bill 357 we drafted to join together with Wyoming and Texas and other states that have been putting forward legislation to stand up against the federal government's initiatives to steal away our rights. House Bill 357 would put a felony in place, a felony charge in place for anyone who would attempt to enforce any future gun control measures coming this year or in future years out of Washington, D.C. I think we have about 68 sponsors on the bill right now. In the House, we need 102 votes to make it happen. There's 203 legislators in the House, 50 in the state Senate. We need 102 in the House to be able to pass any bill. So I need at least 102 co-sponsors on that bill before I'll find support to bring it to the floor. So right now it's sitting in the Judiciary Committee, and we need to find additional co-sponsors. And you can go online and you can look those co-sponsors up and touch base with your neighbors and let people know who's sponsoring it and who isn't and who needs to. Because the majority of state legislators in Pennsylvania will tell you, I'm with you on the Second Amendment. I believe in your right to bear arms, and I'll protect it. But will they protect it against an aggressive federal government? And 68 or so have said yes right now. So we need more. We need more co-sponsors. But that will only come with your help at the grassroots level, because they will not co-sponsor if they don't know that people are watching them, because some of them fear the courts. Some of the objections, their main objection, those who aren't signing on, is the supremacy clause of the U.S. Constitution. The supremacy clause would say that if you pass a state law and there's a federal law that's similar, the federal law is going to rule. Or if there's a conflict, the federal law will rule. And that makes sense when the federal law is constitutional. When the federal law is not constitutional, then the supremacy clause doesn't protect the federal government in their unconstitutional acts. So if you hear that resistance from a legislator, you ask them if they are going to stand with you or if they are going to stand with the government against you. Because right now it's the government against the people when you look at what they're trying to do from the federal level to those of us who believe in the Constitution and believe in our rights. They did it with Obamacare, and now they think they're going to do it with the Second Amendment, and we're not going to let them, are we? No! House Bill 357, if you can send an email, make a phone call, stop by and see your state legislator and ask them to sign on to House Bill 357. On April 23rd, 2 months from today, only it's going to be on a Tuesday, we're going to have an annual rally at the Capitol. We've been doing it for the past 7 years. So if you can take the time off and you can make a trip into the Capitol, it's a rally/lobbying day. A lot of Pennsylvania State Capitol, April 23rd, Pennsylvania State Capitol. There's flyers on the internet. If you go to my website, you can find the flyer, repmetcalfe.com. It's going to be at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 to 11. After 11 o'clock, a lot of the folks that come in from around the state, they break up into teams and they go door to door inside the Capitol, knocking on doors, talking with chiefs of staff, talking with state legislators that they can find in the hallways and in their offices, and telling them what they want to see them do to defend their rights. It's been a very effective way of lobbying for what we believe in, for that protection. As I said, the majority of state legislators in Pennsylvania are standing with you on Second Amendment by their past votes. But will they stand with you if the federal government steps another foot to violate our law, our Constitution? Will they?
No.
I hope so. I will. I'll be with you, and I'll be standing up for our Constitution and standing up for our rights and our freedom. But we can't do this without your help. Who remembers the legislative, judicial, executive branch pay raises of 2005?
Yeah.
That was an unconstitutional act that took place in the legislature, and I voted against it. But within 6 months, because the people cried out in the streets, they cried out across Pennsylvania on talk shows, they went to their legislators' offices, they said, this is enough, we don't want to see this pay raise go through, we want you to repeal it. Within 6 months, we repealed that unconstitutional act. It was a self-serving piece of legislation, serving legislators, serving judges, serving the governor and his staff, and we repealed that self-serving piece of legislation. And you know why? Because of people like you. Because you spoke up and said, do what we've told you to do. You work for us, not the other way around, right? That's a message we have to send to D.C. The states created the federal government. The federal government didn't create the states. We are supreme. In every area that we didn't give limited powers to Congress, we are supreme as a state government representing the people. And as a state legislator, I will be there fighting for you, but I need you alongside me and behind me, helping us to build that momentum that we need to pass House Bill 357, to make sure that our other good measures we have passed stay in place, and ensure that we knock down any gun-grabbing liberal piece of legislation that comes out of Harrisburg or D.C. So thanks for being here today. It was great to have a chance to visit with you. I appreciate being invited by Steve and his family. And keep up the fight, and hopefully I'll see you in Harrisburg on April 23rd. Everyone have a great day. Try and stay dry.